Hey everybody, what's going on? I'm Crusher Scout, and I'm back again. We are back from the weekend, and I hope everyone out there, like I always say, is doing good. I hope all of your dreams are coming true. All of the things you want and hope for are happening in the way that you want them to happen in your life. I know that's not always how life goes, though, is it? But we don't do too bad. I would say overall we don't do too bad, do we? So we should all be thankful for what we have and the ability to pursue our goals and dreams, whatever that is. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Like, why am I even talking about this stuff? I don't know. Because it sounds good. It sounds good. Does it sound good? I don't know. I don't even, I have no training, folks. I have no training of doing live streams or talking in front of a camera. I just kind of just started doing it. Nobody said I was allowed to do it. I just kind of like, just, what was it? Just did it without getting approval from anybody. I didn't get a license or I didn't get checked out or training or anything like that. So I don't even know if I'm allowed to do this. So far I've been getting away with it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why or how. How did I get here? How did I get here? I don't know. But since we are here, we might as well just hang out for a little bit, have a good time, talk, chit chat, whatever it is. I've got a couple things that I want to talk about with you guys, and then we'll see where it goes from there. And if you're lucky, I'll read some of your chats. If I feel it, if I feel like it. If I feel like seeing what y'all have to say, I'll look at the chat. If I don't, I won't. I don't know. Super chats do get my attention, though, let's say. If you do a super chat, it does increase the chances of me reading your comment. Just throwing that out there, for whatever it's worth. Yeah. That's what everybody else does. Anybody else that does a live stream, they don't read any comments. They only read super chats. I'm not saying I'm going to do that, but I'm just saying that that's how every other live streamer does it. They won't read anybody's comment unless it's a super chat. That's how, and they're smarter than me, of course. That's how they actually how they make enough money to make it worthwhile for them to do it. And they get a lot more views on their stuff than I do. I'm just down here a nobody with all of you. I'm a nobody. I'm just why do y'all even like hanging out with me? I don't know. Because I can ride a motorcycle. Because I can ride a motorcycle? Well, I guess that's the reason. You gotta have a reason to want to hang out with somebody, right? So if it's that, fine. That's what it will be. So anyway, Dean, super chat. I see. Hello. See, I'm gonna say hi to Dean because he super chatted me in that beautiful, like light blue color. It's almost like an aqua blue, right? It's pretty nice. So anyway, luck is deadly. What's going on, man? What's up, Linnell? How are you? Sonny is here. What's up, Sonny? What's up, Pitchfork? Lucas. What's up, Lucas? Who else is here? Am I missing anybody? That's it. That's it. That's it. That's all of us. OG Go Fan was here earlier, but he's listening. He ain't gonna be here. He's gonna lurk or whatever. Cutman. What's up, Cutman? What's going on, everyone? Says Cutman. What's up, dude? Pitchfork says similarities are what unites us. Are we similar though? Am I like y'all though? Are you saying I'm like y'all? Ooh. Oh man, that hurts. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. All right. So here we are. We're just getting started. So what are we going to talk about tonight? Well, I can tell you a little bit about my weekend. As y'all know, I did post a video today. First one in a while because it has been raining like crazy. And it was interesting because Rob watches the live streams, right? Usually not when they're live, but the following day because he's got to go to bed early because he's got to get up early. Like a normal human being, like a normal human. So he heard me say, it seems like every time I want to go ride, nobody shows up. So, and I'm just kind of over dramatizing the thing. It has been raining and people don't necessarily want to go ride in the rain. It's not because of me or anything like that. So the infamous crew and all that, they are wonderful. They, of course, just don't want to. I mean, you can't really rip. You can't go out and have a good time if the roads are wet. It's just the way it is. So I fully understand why a lot of them are, don't show up if it looks like it might rain or whatever. I fully get that. And I was just kind of joking around, like nobody shows up, nobody wants to ride or anything like that. Wussies, absolute wussies, because they don't want to risk crashing. Not everybody has a shit ton of rain riding experience, and even though I have a shit ton of rain riding experience, it's still not my favorite thing to do, to go ride when the roads are wet, because I can't fucking get down the way I want to. Now, I can still move and get all that stuff, but you can't freaking take it to the level that you want, that I feel like I want to ride at in order to make it fun for me. I like to freaking get down, and whenever it's raining, you got to be super careful. I don't want to be super careful. I want to just and go, right? I'm kidding. I'm oversimplifying it. I'm always careful, even when I'm beep, right? Even when I'm beep, beep. That means like twisting the throttle, right? Even when I'm that way, I imagine myself being very careful, but not everybody would probably agree with that. Onlookers would say, "You're not being careful, man. You got a death wish." So anyway, but in the rain, you got to kind of change your riding style, like we had talked about the other day. You got two riding styles. You got one in the dry, and then you got one in the wet. And the one in the wet is not as much fun, I will tell you. So anyway, Rob listened to the live stream, me talking about nobody wants to ride, whatever. So as a compassionate soul as he is, he's like, "Well, you can go ride with me anytime, bro. We always go ride every weekend, pretty much rain or shine or whatever." And I'm like, and he goes, "Well, we're going to go ride tomorrow if you want to ride." I said, "Well, okay." And I'm looking at the weather, and it's really iffy. It's got like a lot of rain all the way up until the morning. And then it was supposed to clear out for the rest of the day. This is yesterday, right? So it was like a literal dark cloud hanging over the plan to ride. And when it was dark, and he's like, "All right, we're just going to push it off a little bit," because it was supposed to be at 10, and then we switched it to 11:30, and that needed to be done. So we got a later start than usual. But whenever I was looking outside, I was like, okay, it's gray, and the roads are just a little damp and everything, but it's probably going to be okay. And then I'm thinking, all right, a part of me is like, nah, just why are we pushing for this? Why are we pushing to go ride? Can't we just like wait until next time, But you know how it is when you want to ride, you want to ride. So you push the point. The point is to get on the bike and go ride. And part of me was like, don't push, just call it or whatever. And then the other part of me was like, stop being a wuss, just freaking go, it'll be all right. And even if you get wet, even if you ride for 40 miles one direction and you get wet all the way, so what? See, I had to tell myself that. It's like even if you leave the house and you get wet or whatever, oh my goodness, like what's the worst thing? Just go. So I go downstairs and I open up the garage to pull the bike out, and it starts light raining. It's light raining when I'm pulling out of the house. Wasn't bad. It was enough to make me go, oh man. Because that's, like I've said so many times, it's not a good feeling to leave the house on the bike whenever it's raining in any way, shape, or form. So it wasn't pouring or anything like that, but it was a light raining. But I thought, you know what? I've already committed. I'm going anyway, and that's what we're going to do. And so I got on the bike and I pulled over to the gas station. I got gas and all that shit. And then It didn't start raining any heavier than what it was already raining. It was just a really light rain, and so it wasn't that bad. And then so I get out on the highway, and then like in the first part of the video, whenever you hear me talking, I said, "Hey, it's raining, but we're going," and that's what we did. So, but by the time I got out of Houston and started heading up north, the rain stopped, which is what I was hoping it would do, and it did do that. And then, not long after we were out there, you could see the cloud line moving southward, and it opened up, and then it turned out to be sunny and beautiful, and it actually started to get pretty hot later. But when the sun first came out, or when the clouds started clearing, it still was kind of mild and kind of cool. Not cool, but it just wasn't hot, and it was really nice. So we had a good time riding. We did. I was very thankful for that, and I was hoping that Rob and his wife Michelle just weren't setting this up just for me to make, because they care, they're good friends, and they felt like I was feeling bad or whatever. So I was hoping that they didn't set up that whole event just for that reason. But they are the kind of people to do that, because they're just kind people. So, but other people showed up. There was quite a few people there, and there was a giant Harley meet that was there. When I first pulled up and I was parking in the space, they were all like staring at me, right? Whenever I was backing into the or pulling into the parking place, they were all just like looking. And so I was like, hi, like waved, and then they just looked at me. They didn't, none of them waved back. I did not put that in the video, but I looked at Michelle. I was like, you know what? I waved at them. Nobody waved. So, but I said, I don't care. I'm not going to be that kind of person. If they're on bikes, I'll wave to them no matter what. But if you wave to somebody and then they just stare at you, you feel like you regretted waving at them, because it makes you feel like a dork, If somebody waves at you and you don't wave back, and you just stare at them, it's going to make them feel kind of like, I don't want to say uncomfortable, but they're going to regret that they waved to you. They're going to regret it. So, they were all like in their leather and all this shit, and sleeveless, and they were all burly and stuff, it just, all the Harley people, they always have that look to them, but that's cool. That's cool. That's the style. That's their thing. But anyway, they left before we did. And then whenever we went and rode, it was just us. It was just us, and it was good. And the group that I'm riding with, as far as I know, now I don't know exactly everybody's skill set or their experience level, but it seems to me that they're working on gaining experience. Like we all are. We all are, no matter how long you've been riding. I've been riding for a very long time. But every time I go ride, I'm gaining experience, even more seat time. And so no matter where you are on your journey to gain experience, some people have been sitting in the seat gaining experience longer than other people have. And people are going to be entering into this activity of riding motorcycles all the time. Every single day, there's somebody new entering and starting their journey on that particular day. So we all start somewhere. And so there's no shade or anything like that. It's great that people get into riding, and then they have the confidence and belief in themselves and then they want to take it on as a challenge and as a passion. And I'm all for it. I am. And with that said, I think some of the people that were in the group are, working on building their skills a little bit. And as far as I know, they go to the track. All right. Like the guy on the CBR in the video, where they're dressed in their full suits, as they should be. That's very, very safety conscious. It's the right thing to do. and they work on their body position and stuff whenever they're out there. And in the video, you can kind of see this playing out a little bit. And I want anybody who watches the videos, and then I'm making the video, right? And I'm filming from my perspective. Y'all get to see what I see. And I'm going to encounter all different types of riders. People that have a lot of experience, people that have less experience but are trying to build it. And then you're going to see like little stuff here and there. Maybe their lines aren't perfect, or maybe their body position isn't the right body position for exactly that moment, and that kind of stuff. But what matters is that they're making an effort, trying, getting better, and experimentation. And what I think is happening here is we're talking about track riding and street riding, right? And we've been over this a number of times where people will say, oh, you think you're fast on the street, we'll go to the track, and then you'll get your ass kicked, but that's the way to build skill, and you're going to find out how much skill you don't have, and this and that, right? I think there's something happening, though, now, I don't know, this is just something that popped into my head recently. Now, what happens when people go to the track? They get instruction, right? There's instructors out there. There's people that are trying to guide them into being better riders, specifically for the track, but overall better motorcycle riders. And what seems to be obvious to me, just from my own observation, is they're being taught about body position, how to hang off, where to put your feet on the pegs, like hanging one side of your backside off in turns, putting your knee out, keeping your head low, and this type of stuff. And what I'm noticing is that that's all good and fine. That's all well and fine instruction and things to know. But what I'm thinking is that they're telling them that they need to do this like in the turns, but I think this is just a thought that I have. I don't know. I could be wrong. I could be right. I don't know. But I'm getting the impression that they're not being guided as to when to do that and when not to do that. Like, when is it necessary to really hang off the bike? And when do you not need to hang off the bike so much? And is it causing you issues, like whenever you're setting up for your turn? And what I'm noticing is I think there's too much focus on body position and not as much focus on proper turn setup, as far as like picking your line on entrance and then remaining smooth, like smooth holding your line through the turn. Accurately judging the speed at which you can enter, and then how much body positioning do you really need to do based on what the situation requires. And what I'm seeing is that people are applying way too much body position for the moment, and what's happening is then the line is being messed with. The line isn't possible. It's not possible to hold the right line if you're putting too much lean angle or body position in at the wrong moment. And I was noticing a little bit of that, and I think it's because the track instruction is coming out onto the street, and it does not apply in the same way. A lot of people think like everything about the track is where it's at, and that's going to make you the best street rider, but I don't necessarily agree with that 100%, just based on my observations. My internet is screwed up like always. I pay a lot of money for internet. I don't know if you can hear me or not. In my back, yes, okay. I pay a lot of money for internet, but it's always problems. I don't know if it's the area I live in or whatever, so I do apologize for that. But for like the little glitching. So is the music too loud? It probably is, right? There we go. Okay, sorry about that. So anyway, as far as track instruction, it needs to be tempered with this is great for the track, but it may not need to be applied out on the street as much. There's different riding techniques, and we can go over some of that. So that's my opening, and then I may open up the video, and then we may discuss what I saw during that trip. So not to point out anybody's flaws or anything like that. So, Sidewalk Star, what's going on, man? Once won the track, you ride to win. The street, you ride to survive. Well, on the track, what you're trying to do is you're trying to get a good lap time, right? So you are in competition with yourself, basically, unless you're in a race and then you're competing against other people trying to get a good time. I mean, that's what racing is. Racing is to be the fastest around a given circuit, whatever it is. So, but if you're out there on the track and you're not racing per se, what you're going to be trying to do is just improve your track times. And in so doing, you're going to become a better rider, right? I mean, that's the idea. But I went for a bicycle ride today, and I thought, you know what? I'm actually going to talk about a subject where while I'm riding my bicycle, there's actually going to be a subject matter that I'm going to discuss instead of just rambling and shooting the shit, whatever comes to my mind. And today, when I went and rode my bicycle and I recorded it and everything, what is better, track riders or street riders? And that was my conversation. I'm not going to make the video out of it because it was messed up. The video camera didn't angle the way I wanted it to, and this and that. So I'm not going to make a video out of it, but I probably will redo it. At some point. But what I was discussing earlier was you can learn some things on the track, and that's going to make you be able to ride the motorcycle better, right? Control the bike, know where the limits are, how much braking you can do and how much lean angle you can put in at a given speed or whatever. So that's going to teach you some things. And then the main thing it's going to teach you is knowledge of that racetrack, whatever racetrack you're going on. The more you ride it, the more familiar you are with that track. And just becoming more familiar, knowing where the turns are, knowing exactly how long the straights are, knowing what the curve arc is in the turns, where the apexes are, and all that stuff, where any imperfections in the track are. Just familiarity with the course itself is going to make you faster, right? But then as you're going through that process, you learn how to do your body position right and trail braking, and that when you can, or how to apex properly and so forth. All of those things you're going to get better at, and if you have instruction, then that's going to be good. But do those things translate to the street? Do they really? Like, how often do you really do trail braking out on the highway or on the streets? You really don't do it that much. Now, if you're able to do it and you understand it, and you can go out on some of these routes, like in these twisties that, like in the video that I posted today, I was doing that. I was trail braking. I could stay faster longer and then brake into the turn, and you saw I was, getting out ahead of the rest of the group, And that's one of the techniques. So it's kind of an advanced technique. You can certainly use that on the street, but you don't really use it that much unless you're in really tight turns, like on that one road in the video. And that was the only road where I was really, using the brake at all. Otherwise, on these mostly out on the street, even if you go down some routes and stuff, you're basically on the throttle or just off the throttle, on the throttle, off the throttle. You're not even really doing much braking because the turns aren't that tight, and you have to go super fast down them to make them tight. So that's completely different. The other thing that's completely different is reading traffic. That is a completely separate skill set that you're not using on the track. Now you could potentially be around traffic, which are other motorcycles on the course with you, but that's not the same thing as being on the road with cars and trucks and other types of vehicles, like all kinds of different things, and then different road surfaces and all this and that. It's a completely different skill set. And I was saying earlier, like whenever I was talking, I was like, I ride with people that go to the track fairly regularly, and most of the time they can't keep up. They either can't keep up or they won't. And that's what I said in the video. I said they either can't keep up or they won't do it. Well, that's because they're smarter than you, and they know that the road is not a place to go that fast. Blah, 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 blah. Like, okay, whatever. That might be the case, but most of the track riders that I've encountered out on the highway and stuff, most, not all, but most, don't move as quickly as I do, like through the cars or through the traffic and that kind of stuff. I mean, some, a very select few, but most of the track riders that I come across, they're always, they feel very uncomfortable trying to keep up. So, it's and no shade on them. It's just a different skill set. It's a completely different skill set. Somebody that can just freaking like boogie through heavy traffic and do it somewhat safely, that's a completely different skill set. And you have to be comfortable with that. So how do you get comfortable with it? Well, there's two ways. One, you're just too stupid to understand that you're riding on luck because you don't really have the skill, but you don't recognize the danger, and then you could be comfortable like that. I think a lot of people do it that way. The other way is to fully recognize the amount of danger and then ride appropriately, and then have the skill to actually move if something pops up, and have a plan, and be able to predict the unpredictable. Now, if you're that kind of rider, then that's another way to become more comfortable with it. And it's familiarity, just like with anything else. The more you do something, the better, hopefully, the better you will get at it. So, does track riding make you a better rider, or does street riding make you a better rider? Well, track riding makes you a better rider on the track, and street riding makes you a better rider on the street. You know what I mean? It's completely different environments. But can one help you or assist you in becoming better at the other one? So can track riding help you become a better street rider, and can street riding help you become a better track rider? The answer is, of course, yes to both. And why is that? What makes it universal on that level? It's because it's the activity of riding the motorcycle. In both cases, you're riding a motorcycle doing this, and you're riding a motorcycle doing that. So what is the key element? It's seat time. It's experience. You're gaining experience doing both things. And that, what makes you the best rider, that is over. It does. So what makes you a better rider? Track riding or street riding? It's really neither one of those. The thing that makes you the good rider is experience. Just general experience, seat time. How much time do you spend in the seat of the bike riding it? How often are you riding it? How long have you been riding? Are you a rider that has 5,000 miles in 2 years? But have you been riding for 2 years? If you have 5,000 miles for 2 years, well, you could claim that. Well, I've had this bike for 2 years. I've been riding it for 2 years, but you have 5,000 miles. Okay. All right. Or you can have the bike for 2 years and you can have 20,000 miles on it. Right? Do you see the difference? The 20,000 mile rider potentially, all things equal, is going to be a better rider. Generally speaking, there's always exceptions. So the answer to the question is seat time. Rather, you're riding on the track, but familiarity with whatever environment you're riding in, that's what's important. So, but if you're a street rider, I highly recommend going to the track. That's what I'm going to do at some point. I don't know when. And then if you're a track rider, do I recommend riding on the street? Well, I mean, if you want, I mean, to go out and just have more experience, it's going to help you. You know, it's going to help you become a better rider on the track too, I would say. Just spending more time on the bike. Just spend as much time on the bike. Well, if you don't have a lot of experience and you're really not that good at riding, when you first start trying to gain experience, that's going to be the most dangerous time for you. That's going to be the most dangerous. And then as you gain some experience and you go like, well, I got this shit, and I don't have anything. Man, this is so easy. That's when you're even at more risk than when you first started. When you first start, you know you suck. You know you're out of your element. You're just trying to make it work. But then when you gain a little bit of experience, like you've been riding for about, I don't know, 4 months, 6 months, something like that, you think, oh man, I've come so far. I was in the parking lot. Now I'm out here on the highway keeping up with my friend. That's when you're really at the most risk, because you don't know how much shit you don't know yet. But you know enough to get you into a bad situation. You know enough to put yourself in a bad spot, but you don't know enough to be able to save yourself from that bad spot, you see? And you don't know how to completely avoid getting yourself in the bad spot. That's when it, like when you hit it more like a couple of years. So that's why it's always recommended to get a slow bike in the beginning for your first couple of years, because that slow bike is going to override your desire to put yourself in a bad position. You can still put yourself in a bad spot on a slow bike, but it's going to take you longer to get into the bad spot, which hopefully will give you some time to recover as you see it unfolding in front of you. This is just the truth. This is just facts. But so anyway, that's my opening. And now I'm going to look at the chat, because I feel like I might want to read some of your comments and possibly include a few of you, as long as your comments are worthy. No guarantees, though. No guarantees. Main Girl, what's up, Main Girl? I haven't seen you in forever. How are you? Mr. Mime says, facts. That's right, it is facts. Jim Zelp, what's up, dude? Yeah, bicycle. Yeah, ride a bicycle. Freedom. The kid in the video today was hilarious, throwing his ass out like he's doing 240-degree turn when he was hitting a 5-degree lean and then slowed down in front of you. Yeah, go easy on him. Go easy on him. He is working on his experience. He's working on his technique. He's experimenting. He's out there. He did not crash. And he's just doing what he can to become better. And I think he goes to the track, and I think he's getting the instruction, and he's applying that instruction out there where, you know, it's not as required at that level in those particular turns. And then what we saw was whenever, and we'll go over it. We'll go over it in a few minutes. I will show you. We'll watch that part of the video, and then I'll point out what it is that I'm talking about and what it is that you saw. But nice guy, super cool. He didn't uh, do anything wrong. He didn't like become a danger to anybody else around him. He was his decision making was very solid, and he's just trying to get out there and enjoy and have a good time. And I fully support that. But I think he's getting instruction at the track, and then you're seeing some of this instruction come over onto the street and being applied where it really doesn't apply, right? And then that's holding him back a little bit. Now, see, if I was to comment to him about what I was seeing, like from behind him, what I'm telling you guys right now is what I would tell him, and we'll go over that a little bit in greater detail in just a few minutes. But I want to read some of your comments right now. Not Disciple, what's up? Give us your top 3 leader bikes. Well, the Ducati V4S is the top leader bike. Then it would probably be the M1000 S1K or whatever. And then after that would probably be the Aprilia would be in there too. So you got your Ducati, you got your Aprilia, you got your S1K, the M S1K, the top of the line one, and then the Triple R Fireblade, I think. Am I missing anything? Those would be the best ones. Now, does that mean the Yamaha R1 is bad or the ZX10 is bad? No, absolutely not. Or the Gixxer is bad? No. But if you want the top tier fastest bikes, it's probably going to be those 3. The Aprilia, but the Ducati's at the top. Yeah, I'm saying it. I have a Ducati, and everybody knows the Ducati's the top bike. Everybody knows that. There isn't a better bike that you can get than that one. And it's not just me saying it. Just go look anywhere. Anybody that talks about it, anybody that knows anything will tell you the same thing. So Luck is Deadly says, "Go." I have a bike video for you. I wonder if you have seen of an old friend that passed. I think you'll enjoy this video. It's on YouTube. Yeah, man. I mean, you can point me to it, and I'll be happy to look at it. And if it's a friend, you're an old friend that passed, dude. I'm sorry, man. That sucks. Some whole love. What's up, dude? How are you? I never mean to mispronounce anyone's name. So I'm just kind of scrolling up. Jesse, what's up, dude? How are you, man? I haven't seen you forever. Hope you're doing well. Lucas says, I want to be at that track when Goat shows up. Oh, dude, I'll just be taking it easy, probably, See, I'm smart. I have enough experience to know that before you do anything, go to an unfamiliar road or something like that, you're not going to want to push too hard. And I surely don't want to be one of those people that goes into the runoff zone or crashes or anything like that. See, I've watched several YouTube people. I don't even consider myself a YouTube person. I'm just a freaking OG superbike rider, okay? I'm just that person who makes videos. I'm not a newcomer to this. But I just thought I would just make some videos, and so here I am. So anyway, I watched other YouTube creators, video content creators, go to the track, and then they end up crashing and stuff. People that have been really good on the street, and then when they go to the track, they crash. So I don't want to be that person. I'm not putting myself above crashing by any means. And whenever you have that mindset, I attribute that mindset to the reason why so far I've had the good fortune as to not crashing, because I know that I can crash just like anybody else. And whenever I have that mindset, whenever I'm thinking like that, that makes me make decisions to prevent myself from crashing. You see how you have to understand that you can crash in order to make the proper decisions to avoid it. If you think that you can't crash, then your mind is going to relax, and that's when things misjudgments can take place, right? So far the system that I have so far has been working. I'm just looking at some of your comments. Lucas says street riding is way more dangerous than track. Racing is statistically 4 times safer than the street. Yeah, because most people don't know how to read traffic, and most people, well, I want to say most, but generally speaking, uh, reading traffic and predicting the unpredictable is almost an impossibility. I would say for most people. Most people, it's impossible to predict the unpredictable nature of traffic. But if you're, I don't know, some people can do it, and some need to learn that ability on how to do it. So, um, and some people just their minds just don't work like that. We all have strengths and weaknesses. Sometimes people, like say for example, what if somebody likes to play basketball, but they're not that great at it, but they enjoy doing it. Anybody can pick up a basketball and go to wherever and shoot some hoops, right? But they might not really be that good, but they still have fun with it and do it. Well, motorcycle riding is no different. There's a lot of people that choose to get into riding motorcycles that are probably never going to be that great at it. They're never going to be in the top 0.5% or 1%, maybe not even in the top 5% of at that level. They're just never going to be able to achieve that level. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, and then a lot of people, most of those people are riding out on the street. And so they're not naturally gifted riders. And then on top of it, they don't have any clue about how to read the environment that they're riding in or position themselves to avoid problems. So, that's when the statistics occur. But again, in everyone's defense, motorcycles are, when you think about what a motorcycle is, it's this piece of machinery that you just strap yourself to, that it's a motor and wheels basically, and it has the power to weight ratio on those things. With the modern bikes, even ones that you would consider to not relatively be very fast compared to some others, are still outrageous freaking machines, right? They're just out. I mean, I'm trying to search for the words to convey what I'm trying. It's like a contraption that propels you at a high rate of speed in whatever direction you point it in. And it's like, yay, let's go. I mean, when you really think about what it is, you're strapping the soft, squishy human body to one of these things, and then you're just sending it out there into the world around all of these multi-ton moving blocks and these curves in the road and bumps and whoops and just all of this different stuff and all different conditions with sand and gravel and then it rains or whatever, and you're putting all of that together on somebody just strapping a living creature to this high speed frickin' machine with wheels on it. It seems like it doesn't make much sense to want to do that. For example, like if you had a chance to strap yourself to an actual rocket and go fly on it, would you do it? It's not that far off, from that. It really isn't. These motorcycles, 150 miles per hour, like zooming around traffic and stuff, or just cruising down the highway in a straight line at 150 miles per hour. It seems crazy. If you stop to think about it, it seems absolutely nuts to anybody that would want to take their only life and strap it to a vehicle like that, and then just say, all right, let's do this. It just, but for some reason, we do get on these things and then we go and do stuff on them and then we come home, and then we put it in the garage and come in, take a shower, and just chill like it was no big deal. Get something to eat or whatever, and just chillax afterward and think, that was fun. That was good. I can't wait to do it the next time. You know? And that's just what motorcycle riding is. It's an unnecessary risk. Nobody has to take that risk to do it. But a lot of people do. And like I said, anybody who loves shooting hoops, they might not be very good at it, but they go get a basketball and go shoot hoops. But you're not probably going to die doing that. But if you're not so great at riding motorcycles and you go get one, and that's how all of these accidents happen. You don't hear about too many accidents of people shooting hoops, and I mean, people twist their ankles and stuff like that, and that sucks. It's painful, but it's kind of a big deal. Like, if that's the most physical thing that you do in your life, because you have an office job, you just ride in your car, whatever it is, your Honda Accord or whatever, and you wear a tie and a shirt or whatever, and you go into the office and it's the corporate environment. Hey man, what's going on? And everybody's like fluffing each other up all the time in that freaking corporate environment, artificial lights, and you sit at your computer or do whatever, or have meetings. Man, those corporate people, meeting after meeting after meeting, they have meetings to schedule meetings. It's just like ridiculous. God, I can't stand corporate. So, but then in order to get some exercise, they might go play some racquetball or shoot some hoops, and it's like, and then they twist their ankle or something. It's like oh my God, it's like a big deal. But then there's people out there that are taking on the adventure, the absolute, like, charging full steam into danger, as if you were like riding a freaking horse, like with a shield and a suit of armor, and you've got that long spear thing, and you're like getting ready to joust somebody. That's a whole different way of living. It's a whole different form of existence. And when something goes south, whenever you're riding a massive stallion, in a suit of armor, and all of a sudden you get knocked off of it, you're going to feel it. It's going to be a lot different than if twisting your ankle or spraining your ankle shooting hoops or something. But that might be if you're the corporate guy that doesn't do anything, that's the most adventurous thing you do. That's going to be a major event for you, which it is. I mean, if you can't walk, it sucks, but it's a whole different way of existing. Some people just would rather just be, play it, everything's safe. But, for those of us that like to ride motorcycles like this, and we feel fully alive when we're doing this, and we can't imagine just if the most exciting thing you do is to freaking go play some racquetball or something. Nothing against racquetball, but just seems kind of boring, the problem with riding motorcycles is, I would tell you, everything seems boring. Whenever you do this as a pastime and for fun, anything else you go do, like if you go have dinner with somebody, or if you like with family or something, or you go go see some show or something, it's just like, oh man, this is lame. This is so boring. And you're just sitting here thinking about, when can I ride my bike again? Okay, I hope the weather's going to be good this Sunday. Oh, yes, absolutely. Oh, I feel the same way. You're having a conversation, but in your mind, you're imagining, okay, like, I can set up my suspension right. I think I can get a few more miles per hour out of this turn. It's been giving me trouble. That's going on in the back of your mind. When you're a motorcycle enthusiast, That's pretty much how you feel. So anyway, uh, y'all have just been talking up a storm. Some whole of is give you Hyundai if you run from Popo on V8 hog bike in your pajamas or wearing or dressed like Ron McDonald or Hulk Hogan. Um, dude, I dress like that anyway, man. I'm kidding, dude. I ain't running. I don't. Nobody has been in more police pursuits than me. I promise you. I'm sure nobody has. All right. I'd say over 30 in my life. 30 at least. God, at least that many. I'm being conservative with that. So I've been there and I've done it in all situations. Dirt bikes, bicycles, on foot, um, on motorcycles. I've had helicopters after me. I've had two police pursuits on an island with only one way to get off of it. Um, I've had multiple freaking vehicles. I mean, just you know, I've done it all, man. So I've got nothing to prove. I don't. I'm not trying to prove anything, and I don't have any problem with the police. I like the police actually. I like those guys. Whenever I talk to them, they seem to be really cool to me. Every time I talk to the police, they are super cool. I like them. I've got nothing against them whatsoever. Every time I talk to them, they're laid back and chill. I get along with them really well, so I like them. I'm not trying to have any problem with them. See, that was before, and I never meant any problem with them anyway. They're just doing their job anyway. They're just doing their job. That's the guy on the bike. Well, not too fast. Not too fast. I'm the motherfucking goat. So anyway, Jim Self says, I remember the previous channel. Yeah, that's what the whole channel was. Freaking, like, just shredding on the bike all the time and multiple. I probably had at least six, seven pursuits at least posted on that channel. 6 or 7 pursuits. They don't chase me anymore. I just go by them you know, and they don't do anything. They just leave me alone. Yeah, I know you're just trying to get me to go viral. I know, but look, there's a couple of things that you really shouldn't post. Okay, I will tell you. One is police pursuits. Don't. I see people posting them. I see people posting police pursuits with their name on their channel, and I'm sitting there shaking my head, going, "Well, I wish you luck on that." Um, because if you post police pursuits, they you would think, well, just a dude on a bike, they don't really care about that shit. They don't have the time. They're busy doing other stuff. No, they have the time to come after you. And it's not hard for them to get you if you're posting videos. If you're monetized, especially, you got to put your name and all that shit on there. So it's easy for them to get you. All right. And they will make time to come after you if you post in police pursuits on your YouTube channel. The other thing is time, speed, and distance. If you do any time, speed, and distance runs where you put a timer on and you go a certain distance, that's an open and shut case for them too. And they don't really care for that too much. I've seen multiple people get busted for that. I have not been busted for that. But that is something that will get their attention. So those are the two main things. Now, depending upon where you live, if you're just speeding, then they might come and want to talk to you about your riding habits. It just depends, Around here, they recognize that the motorcycle probably isn't that big of a threat to the general public. It's really not. So Just depends on where you're at. You got to make that judgment for yourself. But me personally, I even am trying to like keep all of the really high speed stuff, not so much anymore. I would really like to change my content to where it's not just all high speed stuff anyway. Um, and I'm probably going to get there at some point. Either I'm going to do more track stuff, or I might just do more like moto vlogging type stuff. I don't know what I'm going to do. But my channel is restricted. It's shadow banned because I post high speed stuff. So, and I would like to not wear this anymore, but I've been doing it like this, so I just keep it this way. But it's not my favorite thing in the world. How are y'all going to know how beautiful I am if I always wear this mask? I hope you guys know that I used to be super handsome. I'm a little bit older now, so I'm not as handsome as I used to be. Uh, I was a lady killer. Absolute. Ladies could not resist me. I'm not even kidding. No, I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. I'm kidding and I'm not kidding. I'm kidding. You can never take me seriously. You can take me seriously. See how I'm going back and forth? See, you don't know what's true. You don't know what's true. You don't know if I'm serious or joking. I'm probably joking. Sidewalk Star says, yeah, we need more night ride content. Oh, wow. So I had a bunch of night ride content, and then people complained about that, and so I switched it to daytime content, and now I need more nighttime content. Man, I have not really been feeling it to leave the house at night. Now that might change, but I have not been that interested in going out late at night, as of late. And I explain why, because every time either people don't want to ride, or they're not going to go, or, and then when I go somewhere, it's kind of just hanging out and stuff like that. And then, okay, go back home. And that's a ride in itself, and that's okay, and sometimes that's enough. Sometimes that's enough. I'm not saying that's not worth it in every case, but it's just, I'm spoiled because I come from a time when the bike nights were amazing. And I'm not throwing shade or anything like that now. And sometimes the group does go and ride and stuff like that, but you never know. Before it was 100%. We're going to fricking go ride, and we're going to hit the routes, and I'm going to have people that are good riding with me and this and that. But that's you never know. You never know what it's going to be. But that's life. I mean, that's just the way life is. But I remember the last time I went out at night. I don't think it was the last time, but one of the last times. It was a few months ago now, but remember like when I bent my front wheel, and I didn't even really want to go out that night, and I ended up bending my front wheel, and that kind of pissed me off. And then when I got to where I was going, I was way far away, and then there was a big freaking meet there, but the people that I was supposed to meet, they never, I don't know, they weren't there. I saw Will Kid Hill there just as I was leaving, but that's the scene. And I talked to a bunch of people. They came up, talked to me and everything. That people recognize me and all that, this and that. And that's always nice. It's always cool. It makes me feel good. And then, and I enjoy seeing the people and talking to the people and stuff. But at the same time, I kind of felt like, man, I just probably just want to go home, because I'm just standing around. It's a whole bunch of bikes and a bunch of people just standing around. And I'm just like, why am I here? Like, why am I doing this? What brings me to this point? Why am I here at this moment, at this location right now? And I'm at the stage in my life where I'm not really trying to be super social or just be out, and I'm single, and if I go home, I'm just by myself. It isn't like that for me. I have a life. I have a set life where I've got a wife, and I've got a house, I've got a job and other things I work. I mean, I've got stuff, I'm doing stuff. And if I'm not doing something, I'm just chilling, waiting until the morning whenever I got to go do other things in my life. I'm not putting down or putting into second place, the motorcycle riding or anything like that. I'm not saying that. But whenever I do go and do something with the motorcycle, I want to ride it. I don't want to just go pull up someplace and go and just stand around looking at people. That's just not my thing. I whenever I take the bike out, I want to ride it, and not just ride it to a place and go stand around. Now, if we're going to go out and ride, and then of course we got to stop and regroup and just chill after a segment, and maybe fill up with some gas and just hang out like that, and then go hit the next segment to the route or whatever, and then after that go home or whatever. Then that's more my speed. Now, I'm not saying anybody should change whatever they're doing or anything like that just to accommodate whatever I think it should be. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that style of night suits me more than going to, park and chill, like car meets and bikes are welcome and that. And then they got the hip hop music playing, and it's like really loud, and it's just, I don't know, I'm just not there at this stage of my life. I'm just not about that. If I take it out, I want to freaking get down. Let's go and let's have some fun. But if it ain't that, then I would just rather stay home, man. And y'all know me, I ain't afraid to get out there and open her up. Do the roll racing and hit the routes and just getting down. I mean, that is what I want to do whenever we go out. And lately, it's just not that. It's just that shit don't happen. So I've kind of just pulled back and just said, okay, well, it ain't like that. So I'm just going to stay home. So anyway. And then I was saying the other night where it also is a concern of mine too. Like, say I'm out and then something bad happens too, I'm starting to think about that a little more than I used to. And I don't really want to be around when something goes bad. I don't want to experience that. I don't want to. I've seen enough of it. I've seen a lot of it, and I just and if I'm out and something bad happens, I'm there. I'm there to help any way I can. But so is it better go, like, say your friends go out without you and then something bad happens? Wouldn't you rather be there to help them? Well, in a way, yeah. I just don't want anything bad to happen to anybody. That's really where I'm coming from. But and if you're there, then you're a part of it, And I don't necessarily want to be a part of that. Not because I don't want to be around other people or anything like that. It's just that I don't want to see anything bad happen to anybody. And overall, the people that I ride with, we're doing pretty good up to this point. I hope it stays that way. So anyway, Sonny says it's all about feeling. Is it? Luck is Deadly says, I haven't raced a duck before. Take me out for a ride sometime. We can roll race a little. You talking about me? Are you talking to me? Dean's like, that's because how I am on my bicycle. I never stop for coffee a visit. Dang, I come to ride. Yeah. Yeah, you got a lot of energy, man. Yeah, it's not fun to watch people go down. It really isn't. And I certainly don't want it to happen to me, and I don't want it to happen to anybody else. It's devastating. Yeah. So, and if you're out, the more you're out, the more likely it is at some point. Unfortunately, just the numbers, just say that it's going to happen at some point. And you hope it's not you, and you certainly hope it's not anybody that you're with, or anybody at all. I mean, across the entire land, across the entire nation, I wish not a single motorcycle rider would ever have any harm come to them. That's my wish. That's what I would hope for. if I was given the ability to wish that into existence, I would definitely wish that into existence. But I'm not around everybody in the entire nation. I wish them all well, but I do have a small group of people that I usually, uh, and it seems like quite a bit. I'm riding with people that I don't really know that well, you know. But this group that I went and rode with, I've ridden with all of them before, except for the guy on that Tenere. Tenere. I said, is it a Tenere, a Yamaha Tenere? He said it's a Tenere. So I didn't even know how to pronounce it. It's like that adventure bike. It was a 700. It's got that same parallel twin that's in the R7 and the MT-07. It's the same motor. So he was with us. And that was a guy I'd never met before. I don't think anybody knew him. He just showed up and just rode with us. I don't even know his name. Rob met him. Rob might know his name, but I don't know who he was. He was a nice guy. He was cool. He was chill. And he just stayed in the back, and just was just fine, riding with us. So, and then there was Quinn and Jake. It's a little Vietnamese chick. She's on the R9. Very nice, cool. And then her boyfriend is Jake, and he was on the R1. Very cool dude. I like him a lot. I like them both. They're very nice. I've rode with them a few times now, like 3 or 4 times now. They're very nice. And then there was Rob and his wife Michelle, and then the other guy's name was Eunice, the guy that was on the CBR 600, the one that y'all were mentioning about. He's just building his experience, y'all. He's a really nice guy. Very chill, and like I said, he did good. He didn't cause anybody any problems whatsoever. And then there was another dude that was on a white Ducati V2. It was I think it was a 22 or something like that. Really nice white with red. He's been out before, but check this out. I didn't show it in the video, but we had to pull over because before we left, I was talking to him about his bike, and it came up that he had just put some Woodcraft rear sets on the bike, because what he was trying to do is he's pretty tall dude, right? So he was feeling a little cramped, so he wanted to have adjustability on where his pegs were. So he took the stock ones off, and then he put these high quality Woodcraft, I hear. Now, I've never used them, but I hear that Woodcraft is supposed to be a really good brand. So he puts them on, and then he's been like kind of adjusting them and trying to dial them in. But if he put them in a certain place, like exactly where he wanted them, then the shifter was touching the fairing and it wasn't working right, and this and that. So there was some issues with functionality in fitment. And then while we were out riding, he comes up alongside of us and says, hey, I have a problem. So we pull over, and it turns out that the little bolt, the Allen bolt that connects his shifter to the pivot point or something on the rear set had backed out, and he couldn't shift. So we pulled over, and because I went far from home, I took my backpack with me for my tire repair kit. It's got the compressor that Rooster got for me and tire plugs, and I keep a pair of pliers in there so that I can grab a nail or a screw and pull it out of the tire. So I kept a pair of pliers in there. And so I said, hey, I got a pair of pliers if you need it. He goes, yeah. And so with my pair of pliers, he was able to rotate that bolt back in enough to where he left the group and was able to get home. But he didn't put Loctite. I said, hey, did you put Loctite on it? And he goes, I put Loctite on everything but that one bolt. And I went, on a Ducati, you have to put Loctite on anytime you're doing any kind of bolts, like around your shifter, your all that, like your pegs or anything like that. You have to put Loctite on a Ducati. When I had the R1 and the R6, I switched to GP shift and all that. I did not have to put Loctite on the Japanese bikes. Once you tighten them, they stay tight. On a Ducati, it's my experience that if you do not put Loctite, that bolt will back out, because when I switched the Ducati to GP shift, that same bolt backed out on mine because I didn't put Loctite on it. So, but the bolt doesn't come out completely. It just comes out to where you can't shift, but it sticks to the place where it's supposed to be. So I didn't lose the bolt, and he didn't lose his either. And so I took it out and I put Loctite in it, and it's been fine ever since. So I learned the same way that he learned, that you got to put Loctite on everything on a Ducati, not on the fairing, fasteners or anything like that, but on those rear set bolts and stuff, you got to, because I don't know, just because the way the engines vibrate or something, I don't know, the shit will back out. So he was able to make it home because I brought pliers that day. So, and then we continued our ride. So the other thing that I was thinking to myself, but I didn't say anything, was this is what happens when you take factory pieces off and put aftermarket pieces on your bike. He probably never had a problem whatsoever whenever he had the factory rear sets on the bike. They're made for it. They're of high quality. They're very strong and durable. And the pegs, are spring loaded where they'll come up. The Woodcraft ones are rigid. They're not spring loaded. He said that they were designed to snap off in case you break, but then they're snapped off. You know what I mean? Doesn't mean that the factory ones won't break either, because they will break too. But still, it's like whenever you have the factory pieces on your bike, it's made for it. Everything's working fine. But then whenever you start changing stuff on the bike, chances are there's going to be some kind of an issue. Chances are there's going to be a screw that backs out, or it's not going to shift perfectly in some way, shape, or form, or something, because those are after-made parts. They weren't designed by the people who actually conceived the motorcycle, designed it from top to bottom, and then built it and put it together, and then and put their name on it and handed it to the public and said, look what we've done. Look at this offering we have for you. Our entire business, our entire name, our tradition, our legacy, all of the people that work here, the designer, the engineers, our name is on this thing that we present to you, and we stand by it. That's what you get whenever you buy something from a manufacturer. That's what it means. They are presenting it to you saying, if you buy this, we certify, we give you our word based on our reputation that you are going to like this. And why would you like it? You're going to like it because it provides to you what you think you're buying, right? Is it of value for the money that you spent? And what represents value? A number of things, but one of those things is reliability. It keeps functioning the way that it was told to you that it was going to work, and it was sold to you based on that. And so whenever you think about these things, these materials, and the parts that are on the bikes when you get them, it's easy to understand that they might be the best parts that you can get for that bike, But, people want to personalize, they want to change things. They see other people doing it, and they're like, well, if they're putting levers on their bike, and so I'm going to put levers. I need to get levers for my bike too. If you think that's not how it works, it really is on a large scale. People see other people do things, and then they want that for themselves. It's a trend. It's trendy. That's just how Human beings are in a lot of, not every human being, but a large number of people are like, well, if that person's got, that looks really, I like the way that looks, so I'm going to get it myself. We're all like that. If you see something that you like, you were thinking, wow, that'd be cool. I wouldn't mind having that myself. That's the normal way to be. But it can go to the point where you start doing things to your motorcycle that are just going to reduce its reliability, that are going to make it not function at the level that it did whenever. See, you can start putting pieces on there, and you can work it up in your mind that this is better than what it was before, but is it really? Maybe yes, maybe no. But in a lot of cases, the answer is no. It's not better. And so, where I fall on this is I want to keep it as factory as possible because of the things that I just laid out. I need reliability more than anything. If my factory black Ducati levers are a little bit big, and some people, well, to some people they might appear a little bit large. To me, they're perfect. They don't look bad. They function perfectly. But some people be like, they're on the little shorty lever trend, and they're like, oh man, I don't like those big levers on my bike. They don't look right. Well, see, okay, that's fine. If you don't want the longer levers because you don't like the way they look, that's entirely up to you to choose what you put on your bike. But you are going to sacrifice some functionality when you do that. And if the fact that they're a little bit shorter so it looks a little better makes you feel happier about your motorcycle, that's fine. But you are giving up some function of that particular part on your bike. You are. Anytime you shorten a lever, you have to apply more force to make it function. The longer the lever, the less force that you need. It makes it easier, less fatigue, more feel. It's better. And the fact that it's a certified, manufactured original OEM part, you are going to have the assurance behind it. That it's going to function the way it was intended to function for a long period of time. It's going to be very reliable, very durable, and it's going to be the best thing for your bike. Very rarely will you find a situation where if you put an aftermarket part on it, it's going to be better. Some things, like an exhaust system, sure. Because why is that? Why is an exhaust system an aftermarket, in most cases, an aftermarket exhaust better than a factory one? Because the exhaust that is on the OEM exhaust that comes on the bike is not really what the engineers want to put on the bike. It's what they're forced to put on the bike. So they have to do it to meet regulations. And to do that, it's got to be quieter, and it's going to flow less, because they have to make the bike's emissions so low that's one of the do y'all understand that's why they detune the bikes for the most part? With the smaller the exhaust, the less air goes through, and the less air that goes through, in order to keep your air fuel ratio right, then it requires less fuel. Of course, it makes less power, but hey, now you've got a quieter bike that uses a lot less fuel, that puts out a lot less emissions. And then it meets the standards, and then they can sell it without all the greenies or whatever getting pissed off and trying to cancel your motorcycle, right? But then when you put an aftermarket one on, as long as it's a good quality brand, it's going to be better than the factory one. That's one of those rare cases. I mean, we call it rare, but I mean rare out of all of the pieces on the bike. That's one. That's one. Now let's look at another one. Like on an R1, for me, on my R1, my brakes felt fantastic. I never had a problem with the factory brakes, but I heard a lot of people complain about them. And so in order to make it better, they took off those Nissan or whatever brakes, or whatever they're called. I forget what they're called. And then people would put Brimbos on there. Okay, that's going to be one of those cases where you're actually going to get an improvement, most likely. You change the the braking system that may not be as good as people wanted it to be, then you can put some better calipers on, a better master cylinder, and then you're better off, right? It's one of those cases. But overall, like when it comes to levers or rear sets or any of these other pieces, aftermarket fairing pieces, different windscreens, all this other stuff. No, you're just inviting reliability problems is what you're doing. And most likely it's going to make the bike look worse than it did. Minimalistic alterations is really what's best. Um, but people, they go really far. You know what I'm talking about? You seen like those little tuner cars, like the Civics and stuff, where they'll put giant wings on the back, and they'll put widening body kits and stuff like that. It's it gets out of hand, and there's a little bit of that goes on in the motorcycle scene too, a little bit. Yeah, tires, of course, but headlights. I don't know what you're talking about. Do, 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 do. So what else are we talking about? Okay, Jim Zelp left. Okay, man. Take care, buddy. Thanks for being here. Miki, what's up, dude? Your bike is dangerously low on carbon fiber. Kit Carson says the riding weather has been so good for the past week. Well, mine sucked for the past month, but this week going forward, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good, but who knows? I'll take it. Luck is Deadly says more leverage, easier, and then the less leverage is harder. That's right. The more leverage you have, the less force you have to put into it. The longer the lever, the more powerful the lever is. And so whenever you put those little shorty two finger freaking levers on there, you got to really pull, and you're going to get a lot less feel. Yeah. They can look okay. I'm not saying that they look bad or anything like that, but I don't want to give up functionality. And the other thing I was going to say, that's a lot of money to change those things. It's a lot of money. I don't want to spend all that money on that stuff. That's extra money that I don't. Now, if you got just buku money laying around and that's what you want to do or whatever, but me personally, I don't have all that extra money laying around. I don't want to spend my money on stuff, like just modding everything on the bike. It's already great the way it is. It just doesn't need anything. Now, some bikes are different too. Like one bike might benefit from a change of some kind, where on a different bike, that same component is great the way it already is. There is some of that, but overall, look, there's tasteful and distasteful stuff. You see I mean, it's true with everything though. You're going to see some tasteful modifications, and then you're going to see some stuff that just is just wrong. It's just absolutely wrong. But there's all different types of people, and they have different opinions on things, and it's just you know. But my opinion is always the right one, though. You can be assured of that for sure. Always. Just reading through some of your comments. Um, BDE, what's going on, dude? All right, you just popped in. Yeah, everything's going good so far, man. Just chilling. So, do y'all want to watch that video a little bit? The one that I posted today. Let me let me bring it up, and then we'll discuss. Freedom says set up a call in talk show for writers to actually speak live, just a couple of nights a week. Yeah, I'd have to give out a phone number. I'd have to have a phone number for that, right? And I ain't giving none of you fools my phone number. God, I wouldn't get any rest. I wouldn't get any sleep. You'd be calling me in the middle of the night going, "Hey, Coach, what's going on?" I'd be like, "I'm sleeping." Linnell watched it. Okay, so y'all, I'm seeing that y'all do want to watch it. Okay. BD, a loss. What happened? So you had a what loss? I don't see any loss. I looked a little today because they cut the ditches. What does that mean? A burner phone, says he. Yeah, I'd have to get a burner phone. Sonny says he's just listening. Okay, man, you can listen. Oh, you crashed your drone this weekend. Oh, that sucks, man. You can get a Google issued phone number. Yeah, yeah, I'm aware that you can get free phone numbers. Yeah, you can certainly do that. Oh, and you fell off your bike. That sucks. Oh, a Discord call, says Beanzo. And you lost your instant. Man, you've had a hell of a week, BDE. I'm sorry to hear that, man. ABL takes calls. They are hilarious sometimes. But see, you know, if I did that, I would have somebody on the phone call, and some of you guys are just gonna ramble on, right? Y'all are just gonna freaking ramble, and then I'm gonna have to like cut in and say, okay, all right, all right, all right, that's enough, that's enough. I'm gonna have to rein you in. I'm gonna have to take control away. I'm gonna have to take control back, and because some of y'all are calling, you're gonna want to like dominate, the show and everything like that. So I would, y'all would put me in the position where I'd have to rein you in. I would definitely have to be doing that with some of you guys because y'all would try to take over the show. But see, I can't have mutiny like that. I can't have mutiny. Nope. I'm the captain of this ship, and I'd have to exert some of my authority. Yep. Yep. That would definitely be the case. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I do, Freedom. Just crowd shame the yappers. Yeah. Um, all right. Let me see about pulling up this video here. Here we go. All right. It's coming up. I need to. Can y'all still hear me? Say I'm down here. Can y'all still hear me? I think you can, right? Yeah. All right. So where are we at? Yeah, this is it right here. Here he goes. Yeah, this is our fellow right here. Super chill dude. Very nice. I don't want anybody making fun of him, okay? He doesn't deserve it. He does not deserve that. He's a good dude. Oh shoot. That was wrong. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay. Now I have to transform this. There we go. All right. Okay. All right. So, where's the volume on this thing? Oh, right here. It's all the way up. I want to turn it down. Okay. So let's back up just a little. Okay, Sidewalk Star, I think you commented about this. You know what he's doing here? He's letting people when they put their foot down, they're letting people, of course y'all know this, right? Just that there's something in the road. I've never seen anybody do it with both feet, but that was cool. I appreciate the heads up. This is the Tenere. Tenere. All right, so here we go. Round two, baby. Okay. So see how like now keep in mind these turns are tighter in real life than they appear on camera. And on these turns, like look where we're looking right here. The road just disappears. It kind of goes up, and in the apex, it's turning to the right, and then it descends on the other side. So you can't see around most of these turns. You can't see around them, and the ones that aren't blocked by trees, there's apex hills, and then they turn on the other side of the apex, and so you can go over them, and then as you're going down on the other side, you got to dip into a turn. It's a complex road, and I can see people crashing out here very easily if they go too fast. So he's not perfectly smooth on his movements and stuff like that. And this is where I think he's been out to the track, and I think they've been instructing him on body position and how you got to be in your perfect body position in every turn and this and that, but it's really not necessary in every case. So this Eunice, this is Jake, and then that's Rob right in front of him, and Rob is leading, and then he always leads out, and then he says, "Okay, y'all go ahead," because Rob don't want to go too fast. Yeah, this is like up in Conroe. Okay, you see that right there? See what happens is what we just watched is it's going to be hard for me to get this perfect. Probably be better if I put it in the other software. See, like you see how like he dipped in right there? What happened was is he was going straight and he set up, and then in order to do what the instructors told him to do, he has to lean off the bike and get his body position in, and then once he does that, it puts him at too much lean for the turn. And then what happens is his line is then distorted. The line isn't right. So once you put in too much lean, then the bike is going to turn too sharp. His turn arc isn't flowing like with the lines in the turn. It's not, see how like these lines are smooth, perfectly smooth, and there is no double apexing in the lines. They just flow around the turn perfectly. Well, this is what if you were to leave a track with your tires, you would want the track to look smooth like this based on wherever you wanted your line to be. But what we're seeing here is a little bit of zigzagging in the line. If the tires were making a line, you'd see a little bit of where they weren't smooth. And that's your line. It's not smooth. And the reason is because he's hanging off whenever he doesn't need to hang off. I'm not hanging off at all. I might just kind of shift my upper body slightly to the left, but I'm not hanging off at all. I'm almost not even doing that at all on most of these turns. But you can tell whenever I'm hanging off because my head, see where my head is? See, his head's low and off to the side. Look in relation to where mine is. Mine's like, my head's like way up here. It's slightly off to the left, but I'm not even leaning. I'm not in a crouch. I'm not in a tuck. I'm not hanging off the bike or anything. Just slightly leaned over to the left with my upper body. But he's hanging off, and there's absolutely no need to hang off. And because he's hanging off, that's causing the bike to turn too sharply. And then once it goes too sharply, he has to correct. And that's when you're seeing the exaggerated movements and the wobbling. See, see, I know for a fact that's track instructor technique right there. I know for a fact it is. You see how he put one cheek off as he was setting up in the turn, and because he did that, that's what caused him to not hold his line perfectly smoothly. So this is one of those cases where the track instruction is hurting him instead of helping him. See, nobody talks about this. Nobody even thinks this is blasphemy. What I'm saying, according to the online conventional wisdom, all the track stuff is no. The track instruction that he's getting is actually causing him problems right now. But see, they don't tell you that. Whenever you're out there, they're just saying this is what you do in the turns, and they don't say, "Hey, you may not need to do this in every turn." They're not going to say that because they want to drill it in that you do this all the time. And on the track, that might be what's required, but out here, it's not, and it's causing him to have more difficulty in having a smooth line. See, there it is. As soon as he, as soon as he was coming up, whenever he felt like he needed to set up for the turn, that one ass cheek off. He does it like clockwork because he's been instructed to do it, and he's doing what he was taught to do. There it is. Now these turns are tighter than what they appear on the camera. In real life, they are tighter. See, there was a classic example right there. Do you see what I'm saying? Whenever he set up for the turn, too far off the bike, he got that left ass cheek off as they're instructed. Get your head down, get your shoulders way out, lean off the bike, and then it caused him to tip in too far, and then he had to correct. This is where track instruction is hurting you, not helping you. What would be the solution? What would be the solution if he was, for this body position to be right? What would be the solution? Anyone? The solution would be much higher speed. But he's slowing way down because he wants to be sure about what he's doing, because he's building experience. He's experimenting, trying to apply what he's been taught out at the track. And he's just trying to find his way, right, into where he's comfortable. But what I think he doesn't know is that the instruction that he was given is hurting him. This isn't the place to apply that. And if he was to go faster, which he is not suited to do at this stage in his journey to build experience, this body position is not required until you are really going as fast as you possibly can on this road, which he is far from doing. Watch right here. Ass cheek, tip in, overcorrect. And so he had to come back. And then he thinks the solution is to lean off more. But the solution was to not even move his ass in the seat. Now, we can talk about my pass here because some of y'all didn't like this pass. But look, let me show you something. Let me back it up. I can see around the vehicle. Watch. I can see. Look right here. You see right here? I know it's hard for you to see on the screen, but up in front of this RV, I can see the other one up there. I can see past this RV as I'm coming up, and I can see there's no car coming in. I know that I'm going to get around faster than a car is going to appear. So this was very calculated on my part. Normally I don't pass like this, but there wasn't no way I was going to sit behind these two giant lumbering blocks, and I wasn't going to have these things. If I didn't go then, I was going to get stuck behind them for a long time, and I didn't want my ride to be screwed up. But it wasn't at the sacrifice of my safety. I knew for a fact I was going to make it around without any trouble because I could see. I checked the vision. See, you can see. You can see right up here. I was going to get around quicker than a car could appear at the top of that hill. Same thing. I did the same thing. I looked over on the right side. I could see there was nobody there and took it. But I wouldn't recommend that for everybody. But that was calculated on my part. Now watch where my body position is. See, I'm going a lot faster, but I'm still not crouched way down like he was. Now you can see me coming over off the bike a little bit lower on some of these turns. Now, some of them are sharper than others, of course. See, I'm going twice as fast as he was, and I'm not even leaning off the bike nearly. I'm not even leaning off the bike half as. I'm leaning off the bike probably half as much as he was, but I'm going twice as fast as he was. And this is only like my third time going down this road with several months in between each time I go down this road. So I'm not really that familiar with it. So you're seeing me hold back and leave enough like reduction in speed in order for me to be able to handle whatever the turn does without me knowing fully 100% how sharp the turns are. Now this turn up here on the left, this one right here is a pretty sharp one. See, much more lean right there. Much slower and much more lean. That one was one of the sharpest turns. You can, if you listen to the throttle, you can tell like whenever I'm sure about what I'm looking at and when I'm hesitating a little bit to be sure. But we can watch the first part of it. Like right here. This is going the other direction. Here we go. There's Rob. He's saying, "Go ahead, fools." See, I'm leading, and I'm not super familiar with this road. I've been down it a couple of times before this, and I'm just making sure. And you can't see everything. Like right here. Look at this right here. I know the road turns this way, but it's completely blocked, and I don't know exactly how sharp. This is descending, and it's a right-hander in a downward slope, and I don't really remember exactly how sharp this is or what's on the other side of it. But then when I set up, and then look, they say, a lot of people say, if you ask Moto Jitsu, he's an instructor. He's a track instructor, right? He's been instructing for 8 years. So he says never apply throttle in the turn. Right? Y'all heard him say it. He says you never apply throttle in the turn. I said, what the fuck are you talking about? I apply throttle in the turn all the time. And one of the reasons why is because I'm not completely familiar with this road. So my entry is lower than what it would if I was really familiar with this turn. I would enter at a higher rate of speed because I know exactly what to expect. But I'm not really that familiar, so I keep my entry speed low. And then when I get to the point where I can see how it is and what it's going to be and where it's going and nothing is there, like something in the road, a car, whatever, then I apply throttle to pick up my speed. That way I can get a nice lean in. You can listen to the throttle. You're going to hear it in every turn. You're going to hear me set up fairly conservatively. Once I'm in the turn, I got my line, then I apply throttle. Oh, but you're never supposed to do that. They don't know they don't know what they're talking about. That's significant throttle application in the middle of the turn. Now look at this turn right here. Look at this. Even from a distance. See, I'm right on top of this turn right now. But this turn comes up here. It's at the apex of a hill, and then it's a sharp left, and you can't even see where it goes. This is completely invisible. You can't you can't see it right here. It almost looks like a T in the road, right? Like you'd see a stop sign right here, and then left and right. It almost looks like that. But I've been down here before. I know it turns to the left sharply, but you can't see it. It's completely invisible. Now there's mud in this left-hander up here, and we were expecting that to be a possibility because it'd been raining. Look, you saw how I cut the inside. I crossed the double yellow to get away from the mud. I see it, and then I cut on the inside and reduce lean angle. And then I'm worried about the people behind me because I don't want them to get jammed up by the mud. So I turn around, I'm putting my hand out. There's really nothing I can do, but I'm trying to warn them. But I'm already through it. And they're through it by the time I put my hand out. I mean, there's nothing I can do. Look, do you see? I'm giving it hard throttle in that turn. Watch. I'm going to go through here. I'm going to wait to make sure they're okay. Look behind me. I'm hoping that they're okay. And then watching this turn right here, I'm going to give it hard throttle on entry of this turn. Here we go. Oh, but you're never supposed to do that. Don't give it gas when you're in the turn. You got to just maintenance throttle. Maintenance throttle. Can't see. This is a fun road, though. I ain't gonna lie, it's a fun road. There's traffic ahead. Got to take it easy. Look, make sure. Ah, see a car there. All right, now we're good. Don't know where this frickin' turn goes. You can't see it. You can't see this either. It just drops down, but okay. As we're going through it, I see some traffic up ahead. I know it goes up and to the left, descending. Take it easy. Look. All right, now we're good. Go around. Now, coming up here, up and to the left, it disappears. You can't see where it goes. All right, coming through it. Now this is a hard right. Down. See, the head's low. Can't see around the turn, but it's not so bad. You can't see anything there because of the elevation change. Can't see shit here. But then when you notice whenever I can see, then I apply throttle. Can't see anything here. Get to the top, and then you can see and apply throttle in the turn. Then I can just see long straight here, so I just slow down. And then he's up here. He's coming. I slow down. He comes up, and then I skip ahead right here. Now he's not far behind me. But I know the stop sign's going to be coming up here, so you don't want to go too fast here. And there it is. If you were really hitting it hard and you didn't know this, and that it would be really hard to stop going down this hill right here. That's why it's so important to know the roads if you're going to really push. That's Jake right there. And then that's Eunice right there, the guy in the CBR. And that was Rob that just went by. That's Quinn right there, the Vietnamese girl. And there's Michelle, Rob's wife. and then the guy on the adventure bike. There you go. So there you go, folks. That's what I wanted to talk about. Um, it was a good day. It was fun. We had a good time. Nobody crashed. Everybody did good. But and nobody's look. Just y'all. Just y'all. It's just this small little group here. And is track riding great? Is track riding going to teach you a lot of stuff? Absolutely. But here we see what I feel like. Now, I haven't talked to him about it. What I feel like is he's following instructions precisely from the track and then applying them on the street on a road where I think he's been up and down this road quite a bit because he's part of the group that goes out here fairly regularly. He rides with Rob all the time. I'm the one that doesn't come out here that often. So I'm the one. This group of people come out there, as far as I know, fairly regularly. So, and they're all doing good. They're all doing great. But I'm the one that hasn't been out there for very many times. So I have to be really careful. I'm still moving, but there's a technique that I use. I don't know. Nobody taught me anything. I'm just using common sense. Let's call it a technique. It's just common sense. If you can't see where the road goes, you have to slow down enough to, by the time things come into view, you're going to be able to slow down or turn or something to stop, to keep from hitting whatever thing appears in front of you. And that's the technique, if you want to call it that. It's just common sense. Just an application of common sense. That's all I was doing. It's not my first time down the road, so I kind of had somewhat of a visual file stored in my mind, a mental file stored. But that doesn't mean I remember every single sharpness of the turn and exactly how much it's going to turn going over a hill. It's completely blind in some of those, completely blind. And then there's also places where cars can pull out too, like little RV park, and there's some homes and things that are there, and people's property and stuff. And just on the other side of the hill, somebody could be leaving their property, So you have to ride in such a way to where whatever your skill set is on whatever motorcycle you're riding, whatever its capabilities are, and as long as you're experienced on your bike and you can manipulate your motorcycle to do what you want it to do in an emergency situation, whatever level that is going to determine with how much caution you should proceed. You're always proceeding with caution, but in the terms of how much time are you giving yourself, all right? That's how you have a good day, in my opinion. And I'm not pushing 100% by any means. One, because of the reasons that I just laid out, they're all blind and not a complete familiarity. Even with complete familiarity, you still don't want to push beyond the limit of not being able to do something if there's something appearing in the road, right? And this is a public street, and there are places for things to pull out or whatever. So you always want to keep that in mind. And at some level, in my mind, I do think about what it would be like if you actually do impact. That's part of making an assessment. At least for me, in my mind, I'm making an assessment of if for some reason there is something there and I am trying to slow down, but I don't slow down in enough time, if I actually do hit something, what will that be like? That is part of the equation that you have to consider. If for some reason you're not able to stop in time and you do hit, how badly is that going to hurt? Where is my body going to go? And I visualize that stuff at some minute level in the back of my mind. I keep that with me because that keeps me sharp. That keeps me in a state of awareness that I don't want that to happen. So with that sitting there in my mind, that alters what I'm doing as I'm doing it. You see? You have to think about that. You have to think about, okay, if I do go into something, am I going to fly over it, or am I going to slam right into it? Am I going to die? Am I going to fracture my hips, or like my pelvic bone, or am I going to break legs? I mean, what's it going to be? I know it sounds funny, to think about that. Well, if you think about that, it's going to bring, no. You think about what the possibilities are when you're out there riding. And that's something that could be possible. And if you don't want that to happen, you need to understand the magnitude of what that is in order to prevent it. And if you're not even thinking like that at all, then you're just kind of flying blind. You're just not really, you're not in a state of awareness. You're not connected to the reality of the situation as much as you maybe should be. And if you do that and you're going over blind hills and around blind hill turns, up hills, and it disappears, and then as soon as it apexes, it turns down to the left in a descend. You have to think about how your motorcycle, how the chassis is going to become lighter. Your grip on the ground, like the tires, the grip on the ground has become lighter. If you go over and you start to drop down, like when you get weightless, when you go over a hill, you kind of feel like, whoa, you feel your stomach coming up a little bit. That's because you're not pushing down on the ground as much as you once were. You're becoming a little bit more lightweight whenever that happens. And so your tires are going to not have as much downforce on the pavement either. So you got to, and especially like if you're up and then descending down into a turn, you have to think about the transition of the bike and what the tires are doing as it's going over that apex, and they're slightly lighter than what they normally would be. Being really smooth in those moments is really important. Smooth in the sense of, like we were talking about rain riding, how it has to be like a ballet. It's not like kung fu. It's not like sharp. Like normally when it's dry, you can like kung fu, right? But whenever it's wet, it has to be more like Tai Chi or like smooth flowing. There's no chopping, right? Whenever it's dry, you can chop and punch. But whenever it's wet, you want to be smooth, like this. No abrupt movements, all flowing circular motions, right? Well, whenever you're going over a hill apex like that too, you want it to be really smooth, because if you're snappy when your tires are in a somewhat lightened state compared to, what they were just before that, then you could lose traction. And keep in mind, it's all asphalt too. There's no concrete out there. None of it. So anyway, I hope this helps. Does this help? Am I helping? Is this helping anyone? Is this helping the 39 people that are here? You know how many views this has? It's 249 views. 249 views since we started. But that's some of you leaving and coming back too, so it's not really that many. Oh boy. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a shit. Sonny says I belong on 610 loop. Yeah, that's all concrete. Kit says yes, and Thylacine says yes. And Pitchfork says always goat. So this does matter, what I'm saying? Is it making a difference? Does any of this... See, nobody talks about this. I haven't heard anybody anywhere talk about these techniques and what to watch out for out on the street. And the fact, and I guarantee nobody has ever committed blasphemy like I just did, saying track instruction is actually hurting somebody's riding technique out on the street. Nobody would even think that. Nobody would even ever go there because they would, oh, blasphemy. That's blasphemy. The track's always the best. No, it isn't. It's completely different environments. Completely different environments. Or even if what you're being taught at the track is right, it doesn't mean it's right in every situation or to the extent that it's being applied, whatever that technique is. Look, there has to be some judgment as to how much of whatever it is that you're doing should be applied. Like, how much of this technique do you actually need? And if you over apply it, is it causing you a problem? And they don't teach that, I guess. I don't know. But, keep in mind, the instructors out there, they don't know everything either. You know what I mean? Sometimes they're wrong. Like Moto Jitsu. Yes, I'm going to shame that guy because I don't like him. He's a freaking dipshit, okay? And I don't like that guy. He's always annoyed me from the beginning. His stupid face, and then he thinks he knows everything, and the way he talks, and he draws shit out like Sesame Street or some shit. I don't know, man. He's wrong. He's wrong about almost everything that he talks about. And he's out there instructing people. This is what I'm saying. Now, I'm not saying every instructor's wrong or every instructor's a dipshit or anything like that. I'm not saying that. He is. And he's wrong about so many things. And keep in mind, he's a guy that hates sport bikes, but yet he's teaching people how to ride them. Well, how do you know he hates sport bikes? Look, I know he does, okay? I watched his videos a long time ago, and I heard him talk a lot of shit about sport bikes. His bias is so thick, it cannot be unseen. It's so obvious how it is. And people are getting instruction from somebody who's anti-sport bike and claiming to be an instructor. Okay, you got certified. You took some test. You heard what other people had to say. You remembered it. You memorized it, and then you took a test, and now all of a sudden you're an instructor. Whatever. He's wrong. He's wrong about almost everything I've heard him talk about. So just keep in mind that instructors don't know everything there is to know either. I'm not shading instructors by any means, just him. Lucas says, "Goat getting a race someday would make me happy." I don't know, man. I might get my ass kicked, bro. But hey, it'd still be fun, probably. Yeah, Kit. It does not always translate to the street. Pitchfork says, "Shame Moto Jitsu Goat." Oh yeah, I will, no doubt. I don't like him. I think he's a goober. But I'm not anti-goober or anything like that. Goobers need love too. He's definitely a goober. Kit Carson says, "Is that the dude that told Fastlane he was running the wrong tire?" I don't know. I don't keep up with what Fastlane does or the drama between other people and stuff. I really wouldn't know, man. I don't watch their shit, bro. I really don't. I've watched a few Fastlane videos a few weeks ago. But that's it. I don't really watch that much. I'm just not interested that much. Not that I have anything against him or anything like that, but you know, um, I'm just personally not interested. Um, there's no really no riding, he doesn't really ride, he just kind of talks and goes to dealerships and shit and meets and things like that, but he doesn't really ride. He makes his videos to please, YouTube. So anyway, uh, not there's anything wrong with that. It's just I'm not interested in watching. Um, Pitchfork says helping some is better than helping none. Goat. Learning more is part of why I'm still here. Right on, bro. I appreciate that. Gonna says slow lane D. Yeah, look, when you have 1 million subscribers, YouTube comes down on you. YouTube will yellow tag a video because you're reaching so many people. They feel like you're representing YouTube as well. So they will step in if you speed or if you show wheelies or whatever. So he's very limited. I don't blame him completely. Now, he's done what he's had to do to get where he is, and he's got a lot of money now from YouTube. So, hey, whenever you make the big bucks, you got to compromise. You've got to sell out. I call that not derogatory. I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but you give up the actual way that you want to make your videos or the way that you want to show things in your video. You cannot do that because you have a master above you that is controlling you, and he definitely has that. If he wants his videos monetized, and if he snubs his nose at them too much, they might shadow ban him. Right? They might go, okay, well, we've offered our suggestions, and it sounds like you don't value our suggestions, and so okay, and they'll turn their back on him, and then his videos won't get any views, and then he'll be back down to the bottom again. So I don't blame him. Once you're on top, and if you've got a shtick where you go, hey, and this kind of stuff, and if that's what's getting you views, why not? Why not? But, it's just... I don't know. I'd rather just go ride my bike. That's just me. I don't know. He seems like a nice enough fellow, and I'm not shading him. I think he's probably a nice guy, but anyway. Slow R6 talked to him whenever he was in Houston, and he goes, hey man, you know Crash This Goat? He's my riding buddy. He goes, oh yeah, I know Crash This Goat. I know who he is. So the fact that he was cool enough to say that lets me know that he's probably a cool dude. He's all right. Because he admitted to knowing somebody small like me. Well, he's huge, right? He's a big star. He's a big star, but he still was honest. He was honest. So he got points from me for that. So anyway, just keeping it real here, folks. Keeping it real. Good night, Freedom. I'm out of here. We're at 2 hours and 6 minutes. We're off to a great start for the week. Look, this video was no shade toward anybody except for Motojitsu because he's a goober. But the guy that I was riding with that we discussed, I want him to do better. I want him to achieve his better riding goals. And if he sees this, everything that was discussed was out of love. It wasn't out of making fun or shaming or anything like that. We were just talking about how the technique that was being applied may not be the right one for the moment. That's all. And I think he was just doing exactly as he was instructed by other people. It just needs to be a little bit of fine tuning, and he's going to be much better off. It would be fun for me and him to actually get out there and if he was up for it, and then we can kind of discuss some of that a little bit. I think that would be cool. But we'll see. I'm sure this time won't be the last time we've ridden together. So hopefully, we got some decent weather, but I'm not going to be really doing much. I'm just going to be going to and from work and stuff like that. I doubt anything's going to happen. But if I can think of a way to make a video, I will do that. I did make one on my bicycle today that I'm not going to upload. It got ruined, where I was discussing what we were talking about tonight about the difference between track riding and street riding and which one is better. That's a big controversy, and street riders get a lot of comments on their videos saying, oh yeah, you'd suck on the track. No, I wouldn't. Okay. Maybe some people, maybe, everybody can do better. Let's just say that. But anyway, I love you all. I love you all. I hope you love me too. You should, because I'm your Uncle Goat, and I will see you guys in the next